In this video, I'm going to tell you how you can have much better conversations with your colleagues and team simply by improving the way that you actually listen to people. There's a lot more to it than you might think. This is Productivity ACE. Let's get it done. There are many aspects to the perfect conversation. So many variables at play that determine whether you both get what you want or need from the interaction and ensure that relationships are enhanced and not damaged. Psychologists have conducted many studies as to how to ask better questions, how to negotiate properly, and how to manage the relationship in a conversation. But have you ever considered that you could significantly improve the quality of your interactions by becoming a great listener? In my experience, it's not something that many people put a lot of effort into when compared to other behaviours. How many people can you think of that you would class as great listeners? Probably not many. And for the ones that you can think of, can you articulate exactly why you think they're so good at listening? It's not easy to do. Leave a comment with what you think makes a great listener. Well, there's a good deal of research into the skill of being a better listener, and I'm going to give you some easy to implement tips that you can use in your work interactions that are bound to have a positive effect on your relationships. But before I do, I want you to listen to me. I'd love it if you hit that like button to tell YouTube that this video is useful, because that really helps the channel. And of course, if you want to see more, then subscribe. So here we go, some tips for being a great listener. Repetition. One of the most effective ways to connect with somebody in a conversation is to actively check in with them after their more memorable statements. This can easily be done by repeating back to them what they've just said. You might prefix it with something like, "Let me make sure I've got this right," or "Let me just understand this fully," and then repeat their point. There's genuine evidence that this not only makes you better able to remember the content of the conversation, but it creates a stronger bond with the other person as well. It's really effective. Try it. Active sitting. In a face-to-face meeting with one or more people, ensure that you position the chairs correctly. This means not in a face-off situation with one chair directly across from another and a desk in between. That's a challenging and direct position. It forces continuous eye contact. It's not as relaxing. Look at how you can position chairs at 90 or 45-degree angles to each other. This creates a much more relaxed and calming vibe to a meeting. It doesn't force eye contact, and it can be greatly effective when you're dealing with introverts or junior people. If you get the seating angle right, then you'll optimize the amount of eye contact you have. Not too much to feel weird, not too little to feel disconnected. The right level of eye contact allows you to naturally pay more attention to the content of the discussion and relax into the interaction. Empathy. Especially important when the other person is speaking about a troublesome situation that they're going through. Empathy is critical. Let's say somebody has a problem. Maybe they've got a problem at home that they can't solve, or their child is sick, and then they tell you about it. Well, they absolutely do not want to hear about your problems, or how about your dog isn't well, or anything else. This is their moment. This is their time. Make sure it stays about them. Express sympathy, how that must be awful for them. How is their family coping? Is there anything you or the company can do to help? What do they need? Remember, it's their moment. Listen like a therapist. That empathetic connection is a really common skill that you'll find in good leaders. I'm sure you've got a friend in mind that you never share any of your problems with, because you know that they just start talking about themselves. We've all got people that we know that are like that. That's a person with low emotional intelligence and poor empathy. Great leaders do the opposite. Clarify. When somebody tells you something, ask further questions to clarify. The more important the point, the more questions you should ask. Think of your role in the conversation as a detective. You need to understand their situation as much as you can to be able to give them the best possible advice. Make sure you're not judging in any of your questions, and always be mindful of their emotions. But the more open-ended and thoughtful questions you can ask, the more you'll connect with that person, the more they'll feel that you are really paying attention to them. And also make sure you're not interrupting all the time or seeming to impose your own masterful solutions. Listen carefully, gather the information, and then when they ask you, you can offer your advice. Don't let tech ruin it. I've seen it too many times when you're in the middle of a conversation, it's going well, each person is open and honest, getting value from the interaction. You might even have had to do some really good and difficult and positive work to get that person to open up at last. And then, just as you're in the middle of and that's it. The bubble is burst, the vibe is gone, you've lost the momentum. And please don't think of actually answering the thing. I've seen that happen in meetings before, where somebody interrupts an important and emotional meeting to take a call. So whenever you're in a conversation, especially one that really matters, make sure the tech is not going to knock you off balance. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, check out some of my courses and the links in the description. We've got all sorts going on at Productivity ACE. 5 ways you can be a better listener. Let me know in the comments if this has been useful, and we'll see you next time.